No, dude, what the heck is that? No, dude, you see that? Oh my god. Dude.
Human civilization hasn't exactly been able to maintain a good track record with nature. There are testimonies to this everywhere, from pollution to melting icebergs and deforestation. There have been instances where scientists and biologists have used living organisms in their experiments, leading to some pretty surreal results. Many would argue that these are morally unacceptable. You can decide for yourself after watching the video. Here we have put together a list of the 8 most bizarre animals that have been created by humans. So let's get to the countdown. Number 8. Human-rat hybrid. Scientists have often found themselves at a crossroads when it comes to modifying and playing around with living things. Recently, in 2019, scientists in Japan signed off on the first human-animal embryo test. They planned on growing human cells inside rat embryos and then growing that embryo within other animals whose bodies would play the role of a surrogate. His goal was to end up with a creature at the end whose organs would comprise human cells, and then further on those organs could be used to help people who needed organ transplants and such. If we are able to generate human organs in animals, we could help many, many people, they said on record to Stanford Medicine magazine in 2019. His work actually led to Japan in overturning a previous rule that totally forbade scientists from growing animal embryos spliced with human cells for longer than 2 weeks. His goal was to create these embryos for 15 days. Later on in his career, he helped to grow pig-human hybrid embryos too that took 70 days. And while waiting for the government to say yes, bioethicists declared that this research can have unforeseen disastrous effects if the human cells ever found a way to reach the animal's brains. He was certain, however, that the human cells would only be placed and would remain on the organs which he was planning on growing. Yikes, we sure hope he's right, because that could be the beginning of a new horror film. Number 7. Ruppy the glowing puppy. No one would ever have guessed that this animal would ever exist in our world. It was truly a miracle where in 2009, a group of 4 scientists in South Korea claimed to have created 4 beagles that supposedly glow red. This was made possible through cloning techniques in which they can find the cure for several modern-day diseases. All 4 of them were named Ruppy. They look like your average beagle during the day, but they do have some red protein visible in regular light on their fur. But at night, well, that's a different story. They glow red when viewed with a UV light, and their nails and paws look red. This happens because their bodies produce a fluorescent protein that appears red to our eyes. These 4 are the world's first transgenic dogs. It was a very long process with a lot of trial and error. Initially, they began with 344 embryos placed into 20 dogs, of which only 7 pregnancies were left. The team was left with 4 dogs at the end, all of which are in perfect health, and expected to have fluorescent children of their own soon as well. Number 6. Freckles, the spider goat. Alright, this one sounds straight out of a sci-fi novel. A scientist and professor at Utah State University, Randy Lewis, spliced goat cells with spider DNA. The goat was named Freckles. Upon first glance, she is just like a regular goat, but a closer look will show you that she produces spider silk when she lactates. The spider from which the DNA was taken is called a golden orb weaving spider. Their silk is extremely valuable, it is stretchable and extremely durable. However, taking care of the spiders in order to harvest the silk is really impractical and difficult. Therefore, this experiment was conducted. It did get the results it wanted, for this goat produced an ounce of the substance every time she was milked. It is now marketed and sold as BioSteel. It has come in handy for quite a few construction companies. And believe it or not, it is many times stronger than actual steel. There hasn't been enough research on this to see, however, if the goats' bodies are not being harmed by the production of this milk. Number 5. Featherless chickens. This one is a classic case of domestic breeding. The researchers at Hebrew University in Israel bred chickens in such a way as to keep the desirable traits of the animals and remove the undesirable ones. Featherless chickens have been helpful when it comes to keeping chickens in hot climate, the feathers removing an added layer of warmth from their bodies. Also, since there's no feathers, there's also less waste and pollution. So it sounds like a win-win situation, no? We must say they are quite surreal to look at. While looking absolutely nothing like a regular chicken, the characteristic layer of feathers to cover the red flesh underneath. These could revolutionize large-scale poultry farming in countries with hotter climates. The new chicken will grow up faster. Its flesh will be lower in calories than that of a regular chicken and stronger too. The chicken was made by crossbreeding a regular chicken with a bare-necked chicken. Usually how it works is that the chickens are bred to eat more and grow fatter, which increases their metabolism and makes them require more and more food as livestock. This also causes their bodies to overheat, especially the ones kept in warmer climates. It took 6 generations to create the featherless chicken, and every one of them being more and more close to the idea until it was finally achieved. This one is probably the most harmless and ethical experiment on our list, in fact. Number 4. The Beefalo. The Beefalo was made by combining genes from different domestic cattle. The breed was made to take the desirable traits of a male buffalo and a female bison. The DNA of a Beefalo is mostly cattle, also the appearance. Typically, a Beefalo is 37.5% bison genetics. Some of the ones with a higher percentage of bison DNA are also called bison hybrids. Interestingly, like the featherless chickens, Beefalo meat was discovered to have less cholesterol than regular beef. Number 3. The transparent frog. Frogs come in a huge range of colors, and many have different patterns and such too. However, this frog is something else entirely. The skin of the belly on the frog is transparent, meaning that you can see the internal organs of the little creature at work inside. The heart, intestines, liver are all clearly visible through the skin. These frogs hibernate and live in trees and only leave their sanctuaries when it's mating season. Now, there has been a similar frog created in Ecuador. Scientists in 2019 came up with this one as a response to the ever-growing practice of frog dissection in all sorts of medical circles all over the country. This provides a cruelty-free alternative that allows an equally up-close and informative look at the inner machinations of the frog. Number 2. AquaAdvantage Salmon. AquaBounty, a biotech firm, got permission to start farming genetically engineered salmon in America, starting off the country's first large-scale GMO animal to be marketed. One of the main advantages of this salmon is that it grows much faster and can be marketed and sold even quicker. These fish cannot be brought up in open net pens, but they require special facilities on land. There is one in Canada and one in Indonesia. Their enclosures have several gates to keep the fish in, including steel grills and incubators to prevent the fish running away from over the tank and keeping the eggs safe. Number 1. Dolly the Sheep. The Roslin Institute held a volume of different experiments with the aim of finding a more convenient way of breeding genetically modified livestock. Their goal was to see whether or not a cell taken from a particular organ, such as the brain or intestine, could have a whole new organism made out of it. She was named after Dolly Parton, the country singer. Dolly was cloned by splicing an egg cell of a Scottish black sheep and the mammary gland of a child donor. This was then carried to term by a surrogate mother. Dolly was born with a white face. This was the clearest indicator possible that Dolly is a clone, for if Dolly was actually her mother's daughter, her face would have been black. Well, that concludes our list for now, the most unreal animals created by humans. There was some pretty strange creations on this list, but which one was your favorite? Do you think these experiments were morally acceptable? Leave a comment and let us know. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover next, let us know in the comments as well. Until next time, thanks for watching.